NBC TV 18.
On Overdrive today, we take two of the most sought-after electric cars for a drive within the city to find out which is an all-round electric daily driver. We also take a closer look at Tata Motors' first CNG-powered HCV, the Signa 2818T. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Sohini Dutt. If you're in the market looking for a feature-packed and a long-range electric vehicle for your family, then you have two very interesting options. The updated MG ZS EV as well as the Tata Nexon EV Max. They both offer really good range and we're here to drive them in real-world condition to find out just which of these would better suit your daily commute.
Now the MG ZS EV makes a good case for itself if you're looking for a family SUV that happens to be electric. It's got 461 kilometers of range, a spacious, well-packed cabin, and it ducks in under rupees 30 lakhs. But what if you don't want to stretch your budget that far? Then the Nexon EV Max with 437 kilometers of range is a nice option too. Of course, it's smaller, but it's also 7 lakhs less in price. And you get a lot of features with this one as well. So which one should you pick? We'll tell you that today. To be fair, without their EV powertrains, these SUVs wouldn't have been direct rivals. But as it stands, they are your only two choices currently if you have between rupees 20 to 30 lakh to spare on an electric vehicle. Now both these electric SUVs wear their green credentials on their sleeve, but the ZS EV is a bit more shouty about it. To start with, that's mainly due to this new blanked out fascia that came with the facelift. It can polarize opinion, but what we don't like as much is this integration of this charge port. Of course, the placement itself is quite intuitive, which means you can just drive into a charging station and start charging. But earlier, in the way it was integrated into the logo was cleaner. Having said that, the rest of the design is smart, at least on the front. Now the Nexon, on the other hand, when you see it beside the ZS EV, looks a bit more conventional, but that's probably down to how common this car has become now on our streets. But of course, you can't miss it. It's still an EV very clearly with this blanked out grille, this blue EV lettering and these bright blue highlights. Of course, to Tata Motors' credit, the facelift has been very nicely done, so it still doesn't look like an old car. And these bright colors too help with that fact. Now, as soon as you step inside the ZS EV, you know where that added money that you spent on it has gone. I mean, every surface that you touch is soft, except for the ones here, they're still hard plastics, but generally, the seats, for example, they're leather, the stitching, and all these materials, they have a nice heft, they have a sense of quality to them that is quite appealing, especially considering that this is still under 30 lakhs. So in that sense, the ZS EV has a clear advantage in terms of how it feels in terms of the perception of quality inside. Now the Nexon EV Max is based on the Nexon obviously, and which is a segment lower than the ZS EV, and that shows in the way the cabin is built. So soft touch surfaces are limited to, say, here for your elbow and another one here on the armrest. But having said that, Tata Motors has done its bit to sort of liven up the space. So you get this very distinct sort of finish, this blue sort of highlighting, very discreet, very nicely done here too. And it must be said that the build quality has improved over time. And now in terms of features, of course, again the ZS EV has an advantage. But if you look closely, Tata Motors has played it smart. So you get some very nice, thoughtful additions. The ventilated seats being one of them. They're absolutely essential in our weather. And another one, this lock to sort of open and close the charging port. It's a very Indian thing. It's something that owners of EVs will appreciate. Now another big change in the Nexon EV Max over the standard Nexon EV is this new gear selector, or this whole center console in general. Now this looks like the most premium part of this cabin, to be honest. And this selector with its graphics really does look quite premium. Now the big difference comes in terms of practicality, where the Nexon really doesn't score very highly. This center new design with the wireless charger and the small cubby hole here has eaten into space for cup holders. There's really no place for you to put cups anywhere in the front, which is a big drawback. And the bottle holders too are recessed behind, which aren't that great. And as you'll see, that continues in the back seat as well. So practicality is not really the Nexon EV's Max's strong suit. The Tata only gets a single pane sunroof and limited connected features. but both get auto headlamps and wipers, cruise control, climate control, which is far more effective in the Nexon, and tilt steering adjustment. The ZS EV does better with its safety features, offering 6 airbags, 360-degree cameras, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and lane change assist. You even get rear seatbelt warnings, a great addition given the current talk on the matter. The Nexon EV Max makes do with 2 airbags and a single rear camera, but both get TPMS and a useful hill descent control function along with stability control. Now, like the rest of the cabin, this instrumentation in the ZS EV also looks more premium than the Nexon at first glance at least, and it has quite a few benefits. For example, you have these nice digital readouts for the speed and the power that you're using. And this central diagram also gives you a very clear idea what's happening with the SUV. Among the things that we don't like is this very small readout for the range. I mean, we think it could have been a much larger display, taking up a bit more screen space, and the same is true for this regen mode as well as the battery state level. These could have been larger icons considering they are the most important stats that you are looking at most times. Although completely opposite is this trip data, which is again very nicely laid out, very legible. So you have a great idea what's happening with the car in terms of how efficiently you're driving. The MG ZS EV gets a larger battery pack with this update, growing from 44.5 kWh to 50.3 kWh. The one in the Tata Nexon EV Max is notably smaller at 40.5 kWh, but still quite a bit larger than the 30.2 kWh of the standard Nexon EV. Having said that, there's less of a gap in the two SUVs' ranges.
While styling, practicality and features are very important when you're buying a car, what's most important when you're choosing an electric vehicle, of course, is driving range and performance. More on that after this very short break. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive.
Hey Rahul, what's up?